Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that feels uncomfortable but is so necessary for our well-being, our sense of self-worth. It's something we don't always acknowledge, yet it underpins so much of how we show up in the world. What if I told you that in some situations, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away when you're not appreciated? You deserve respect and appreciation, not just tolerance. This statement, simple yet profound, speaks to the core of our human need to feel valued. Too often we find ourselves in situations, whether in relationships, at work, or within friendships, where we are overlooked, undervalued, or even taken for granted. It's easy to convince ourselves that it's okay to tolerate this kind of treatment, to believe that perhaps we're not doing enough or that we need to do more to earn the respect and appreciation we seek. But here's the truth: your worth isn't something you need to constantly prove or earn by pleasing others. It is inherent. It exists simply because you are. When we talk about self-worth, we're touching on something that is both deeply personal and universal. We all crave recognition, connection, and love, but too often we confuse those desires with the need to constantly give more of our time, our energy, our emotions, and our efforts, hoping that through giving, we will eventually receive the acknowledgement and respect we deserve. We allow ourselves to be in situations where we're tolerated rather than truly appreciated, thinking that if we just keep giving, others will eventually notice our value. We might sacrifice our needs, our time, and our sense of self, believing that the only way to earn worth is by pleasing or serving others. However, what we often forget is that self-worth doesn't come from external validation. It doesn't depend on someone else recognizing our contributions or appreciating our efforts. Self-worth is an internal compass. It's about recognizing your own value and honoring it in every situation, even when others fail to do the same. It's about knowing that you matter regardless of how others treat you. And while appreciation from others is always nice, it should never be the basis for how we view ourselves. When you're in a situation where you're constantly giving, but not receiving the same respect or acknowledgement in return, you're slowly chipping away at your own sense of value. You begin to believe that the only way to exist in this space is to continue proving yourself, to continue giving, to continue hoping for something that might never come. And in doing so, you may start to lose sight of your own worth. You might start to feel like you're not enough, like you're somehow lacking because others aren't showing you the appreciation you so deeply desire. This cycle can be draining, leaving you emotionally exhausted and questioning your value. But the truth is, when we tolerate being treated as less than we are, we deny ourselves the opportunity to experience the deep and meaningful connections that come from being truly appreciated. It's easy to mistake toleration for respect or care. But the difference is clear. Tolerating means merely accepting what is. It's passive, it's the bare minimum, and it often involves suppressing your own needs and desires. Appreciation, on the other hand, is active. It involves recognition, gratitude, and the acknowledgement of who you are and what you bring to the table. So why settle for toleration when you can have appreciation? Why allow yourself to stay in situations that diminish your sense of self when you could choose to walk away and find spaces where you are seen, valued, and respected? It's a tough choice, and it often involves confronting difficult emotions and fears. We might fear that if we walk away, we'll be alone, or that we're being too demanding, or that we don't deserve better. But that's where we have to remind ourselves that we are worthy of respect, just as we are. We do not have to sacrifice our value in order to be accepted. The key is understanding that our self-worth should never be dependent on others' recognition. We are enough simply by being, and when we truly internalize this understanding, we stop settling for situations that don't honor us, and we stop allowing ourselves to be treated with anything less than the respect and appreciation we deserve. Walking away is empowering. It's a decision that often feels difficult to make, particularly when we have invested so much of ourselves into a situation, relationship, or commitment. We are wired to seek connection, to belong, and to make things work. So when we feel undervalued or unappreciated, the instinct is often to try harder, to give more, to push ourselves even further in hopes that the other person or situation will change. But there's power in walking away, and it is a choice that signifies strength, clarity, and self-respect. Choosing to walk away is not about defeat. It's about acknowledging that your peace, your mental health, and your sense of self-worth are more important than staying in a situation that no longer serves you. It's an acknowledgement that you are worthy of being in spaces that honor you, where your energy is not drained and where your presence is truly valued. When you choose to walk away from a situation where you're not appreciated, you are making a conscious decision to protect your own well-being. It's not about abandoning others, it's about ensuring that you don't abandon yourself in the process. For many of us, the fear of walking away stems from the fear of being alone, of being misunderstood, or of facing judgment. We worry that people will view us as weak, as quitters, or as people who couldn't handle adversity. But in reality, walking away is one of the most courageous acts you can make. It requires self-awareness to recognize when a situation is harming you. And it requires emotional intelligence to realize that leaving is the healthiest choice for your future. Walking away is not a passive act, it's an active, intentional step toward creating space for something better, something more aligned with your values, your needs, and your aspirations. When we continue to stay in spaces where we are not appreciated, we allow ourselves to be diminished over time. The longer we stay, the more we internalize the message that we're not good enough or that we must tolerate poor treatment in order to belong. This diminishes our self-esteem and erodes our self-worth. By walking away, we refuse to accept the narrative that we are anything less than deserving of kindness, respect, and appreciation. It's a reminder to ourselves that we have the power to choose who gets access to our time, energy, and presence. Walking away is also an act of setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships and protecting our energy. By walking away, you are making it clear that you are not willing to engage in situations where those boundaries are consistently violated. This is not an act of selfishness, but an act of self-preservation. You are making a choice to prioritize your emotional and mental well-being, and in doing so, you are reinforcing the belief that you deserve to be treated with care and consideration. In some cases, walking away can be the most respectful thing you can do for both yourself and the other person. If someone continuously takes you for granted, staying in that space may breed resentment and frustration. Eventually, this tension can lead to unhealthy patterns, miscommunication, and more pain. By walking away, you are removing yourself from that cycle, offering the possibility of creating healthier dynamics. Sometimes walking away is the only way to break free from toxic patterns, and it can lead to growth for you and for the people involved. Moreover, walking away can create space for new opportunities to arise. When we hold on to things that no longer serve us, we prevent ourselves from moving forward. Walking away creates an opening, a void that can be filled with new experiences, new people, and new perspectives. It's not an ending, it's a beginning. By choosing to walk away, you are making room for better things to enter your life. You are choosing growth over stagnation, possibility over limitation. One of the most empowering aspects of walking away is the reclamation of your personal agency. In a world where so many things feel out of our control, walking away allows you to take back control over your own life and choices. It's a declaration that you will not remain stuck in a situation that makes you feel small, unseen, or unimportant. You are stepping into your power and deciding that your well-being matters more than the external factors trying to keep you in a place of discomfort. By walking away, you're telling the world and yourself that you are worthy of more. You are enough. This is one of the most important truths you can embrace, yet it's also one of the most difficult to internalize. In a world that constantly tells you to strive for more, to be better, to do better, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that your worth is contingent on what you achieve, how much you give, or how others perceive you. We live in a society that often ties your value to external measures, success, productivity, appearance, and the opinions of others. But the truth is, your worth doesn't depend on any of these things. You are enough just as you are. When you start to recognize that your value is intrinsic, that it doesn't fluctuate based on external factors, you begin to operate from a place of power and self-respect. No longer do you have to prove your worth through your actions or wait for someone else to validate your existence. You are inherently valuable, and that value is not tied to your accomplishments or the approval of others. This mindset shift can be incredibly freeing. It allows you to let go of the need to constantly perform for approval, and it enables you to show up as your authentic self without feeling like you have to change or be someone else to be worthy of love, respect, or success. When we fail to recognize our own worth, we often allow ourselves to be treated in ways that are less than we deserve. We tolerate behavior, relationships, and environments that diminish us because we don't fully believe that we deserve better. We may stay in situations where we are undervalued, overlooked, or mistreated, thinking that we have to accept these things because we are not good enough to ask for more. But when you embrace the truth that you are enough, you begin to see that you have every right to demand respect, appreciation, and care. You don't have to settle for less than what you deserve. Your worth is inherent, and it's not something that should be compromised or diminished by anyone or anything. This understanding of your worth changes the way you navigate relationships, both personal and professional. When you know that you are enough, you stop seeking validation from others to confirm your place in the world. You stop looking for approval from external sources because you no longer need it to feel whole. You start to make choices based on what is best for you rather than what will gain you the most recognition or acceptance from others. This can be a powerful tool for creating healthier, more balanced relationships. When you are grounded in your own self-worth, you are less likely to tolerate mistreatment, and you are more likely to surround yourself with people who value and respect you for who you are. Embracing your inherent worth also means being kind and compassionate to yourself. Too often, we are our own harshest critics. We are quick to judge ourselves for our mistakes, our imperfections, or our perceived shortcomings. We set impossibly high standards for ourselves and beat ourselves up when we fall short. But the truth is, nobody is perfect and everyone has flaws. These imperfections are part of what makes you human, and they don't diminish your worth. When you recognize that you are enough, flaws and all, you allow yourself the grace to be imperfect and to grow. You no longer have to strive for an unattainable ideal of perfection. Instead, you can embrace your uniqueness and appreciate yourself for who you are in the present moment. This mindset also frees you from the need to constantly prove yourself. Many of us spend much of our lives trying to earn our worth through accomplishments, through recognition, through titles, through achievements. We think that once we achieve enough, once we have earned enough praise or success, we will finally be worthy. But the reality is that you were worthy all along. You didn't have to prove anything to anyone to earn your place in this world. The truth is that your worth is not a reward for what you do, it is simply who you are. When you start to operate from this understanding, you stop measuring your worth by the yardstick of achievements or external validation. Instead, you begin to value yourself for the person you are, independent of your actions or the opinions of others. Recognizing that you are enough also opens the door to true contentment. When you stop measuring your value against external standards, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop looking around and wondering if you measure up, if you're doing enough, or if you're enough in comparison to those around you. Instead, you begin to appreciate your own journey, your own path, and your own unique gifts. You realize that your worth is not determined by how others are doing, but by the simple fact that you exist. This creates a sense of peace and acceptance that can't be shaken by the world's expectations or judgments. When you believe you are enough, you also empower yourself to make better decisions. You stop staying in situations that make you feel small or unappreciated because you know you deserve more. You stop settling for relationships, jobs, or environments that drain you because you understand that you are worthy of love, respect, and fulfillment. You make choices that honor your true self and align with your values rather than trying to live up to the expectations of others. And when you make choices from a place of self-worth, you create a life that reflects your true potential. When you decide to walk away from something or someone, it's an act of taking responsibility for your emotional and mental health. It's a declaration that you are no longer willing to stay in a situation that diminishes you, depletes you, or makes you feel less than what you are. Too often, we remain in environments or relationships where we are not truly valued, either because we feel guilty about leaving or because we fear the consequences of making that choice. However, staying in a place where you are unappreciated is a form of self-neglect, and it can lead to long-term emotional consequences. Walking away is not about rejection of others, it is about asserting your worth and protecting your peace. When we stay in situations that are draining or toxic, we often give up pieces of ourselves in the process. We stop speaking up for what we need, stop voicing our concerns, and start to silence parts of ourselves that need to be heard. Over time, we become so accustomed to being unappreciated that we begin to internalize the belief that we are not worthy of better treatment. We start to believe that we are simply not enough or that we must tolerate poor treatment in order to maintain the relationship or situation. The truth is, you are always worthy of respect, kindness, and appreciation. And when you allow yourself to remain in environments where this is not given, you are sending a message to yourself that your worth is conditional. Walking away allows you to step into your own power. It is an act of reclaiming your agency and autonomy over your life. It's easy to feel stuck when you're constantly trying to prove yourself to make others see your value or to bend over backward in an attempt to please others. But in doing so, you lose sight of your own needs and desires. Walking away is about acknowledging that you don't have to fight for approval or validation. You are inherently worthy, and you deserve to be in spaces where you are seen, heard, and valued for who you truly are. It's about recognizing that your presence matters and that you have the right to be surrounded by people who celebrate you rather than those who take you for granted. Choosing to walk away is also a form of self-care. We often think of self-care as something that involves pampering or relaxation, but it's much deeper than that. Self-care is about setting boundaries, prioritizing your well-being, and protecting your mental and emotional health. Staying in a situation where you are not appreciated means that you are allowing your needs to go unmet, and you are giving others permission to take advantage of your time and energy. Walking away is a clear and powerful boundary that says, I am no longer available to be treated this way. It is an act of love toward yourself, a way of protecting your peace, and a statement that you value yourself enough to walk away from what isn't working. The fear of walking away often stems from the fear of losing something or someone, but the reality is that staying in unhealthy situations may cause far more harm than walking away ever could. Sometimes we stay in relationships or situations because we fear the unknown or feel that we will be left with nothing. However, when you walk away from what is not serving you, you open yourself to new possibilities and new opportunities. The space you create by leaving is filled with potential. It is a chance for you to realign with your values, desires, and goals. When you walk away from toxic relationships, unfulfilling jobs, or environments that drain you, you create room for new experiences that are aligned with your purpose and well-being. Furthermore, walking away also teaches you the importance of self-respect. You learn to honor yourself and your own needs rather than sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of others. It's easy to feel guilty about leaving a relationship or situation that has been part of your life for a long time. But the truth is, holding on to something that is no longer serving you can be more damaging in the long run. It's important to recognize that your happiness and well-being are just as important as anyone else's. Walking away from situations that are harmful to your mental health is not selfish, it's an act of self-respect. And it's an essential part of protecting your sense of self. In the process of walking away, you also learn to trust yourself. It takes courage to leave a situation that is familiar, even if that situation is unhealthy or unfulfilling. Walking away requires you to trust that you are capable of handling whatever comes next. It requires faith in yourself and your ability to navigate the unknown. Each time you choose to walk away from something that no longer serves you, you reinforce your own strength and resilience. You show yourself that you have the power to make decisions that align with your highest good and that you trust yourself enough to take action when necessary. This trust in yourself builds your confidence and helps you cultivate a deep sense of self-assurance. Ultimately, walking away is an act of empowerment. It allows you to create the life you want, one that is filled with joy, peace, and fulfillment. When you stop tolerating mistreatment, when you stop accepting less than you deserve, you create space for the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences to enter your life. Walking away isn't about giving up, it's about moving towards something better. It's about stepping into your power, protecting your peace, and trusting that the future holds something much more aligned with your authentic self. In conclusion, walking away from situations where you are not appreciated is an act of self-respect and empowerment. It is a courageous decision to protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, recognizing that you deserve to be valued and respected. By choosing to leave environments or relationships that diminish you, you make space for personal growth, new opportunities, and meaningful connections that align with your true worth. Remember, you are enough just as you are, and you owe it to yourself to step away from anything that doesn't honor that truth. Walking away isn't an end, it's the beginning of a more fulfilling, authentic life.